going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
Greetings to everyone out there in the YouTube land. I'm Ahmed Hassanin, and I just want to give a shout out to Coach Dan. Thank you for all the support you show the team and the players. Everyone hit the like, subscription button, and yell woo in the comments. Thank you, and go Lions.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. Hey, I want to thank you for rising and shining this Tuesday morning, joining us here on Lions Talk Live. You know what? I think we got a little bit of information. It is Super Bowl week. We're going to break down, hey, can the Detroit Lions really be here next year? Can they be one of the teams that really push their way forward into the Super Bowl? I think there's a lot of compelling reasons to believe they can, even with the season that was this year. You know, hey, you finished over 500, and I get that may not seem like a big thing to a lot of people, but I do think the Detroit Lions are proving that they do have the firepower right now, if they were fully healthy, to have probably made the playoffs, you know, maybe make a little bit of noise, especially when you watch the NFC playoffs. You watch the final four teams in both the AFC and the NFC, and now a few key things done in the offseason. You might just be seeing the Lions there. We're going to break down 5 reasons why I do believe the Detroit Lions can be there this time next year. All right, real quick, before we get into the main top of the day, before we have Anthony from Roar Lions UK. Now, hey, I got to remember to send him the link, otherwise he won't be able to join. But before we get into all that, before we get into the 5 headlines now and everything else in between, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making that march for 16,200 subs, and we're only a handful of subs away from that. So if you can help out with that, I'll surely be thankful. Also, if you have a half-second time free of charge, won't cost you even a dang dime, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last, never least, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan where I reside, then go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. If you're outside the state of Michigan, still help you out. Just got to do things a little bit differently. Go ahead and reach out to me, 269-998-2384. Let me use over 30 years in the industry to try to help you out. Hey, one of the Duke crew just sold your house earlier today. I think later today also I've got to help one of you that lives in Tennessee. So shout out to the Savage family. No relation to my wife, by the way, Jen Savage. All right, so you guys get it. If you need any help with real estate, go ahead and give me a call and shoot me a text. We'll save you some time, money, and effort. With all that done, out of the way, let's get the show rocking, rolling, moving on forward, kicking off with, as you probably knew, 5 headlines now. All right, we got some headlines coming your way. Let's start it off with Detroit Lions off-season approach. Shouldn't hinge on Taylor Decker's decision. SB Nation story by Jeremy Risman. Let's face it, Taylor Decker has been a Lion and a faithful Lion for a long time. He's done a lot of good things here. He's been one of the better left tackles in the NFL. I won't go so far to say he's been the best one in the NFL, but he's been on the upper echelon list. He's proven himself pretty dang worthy over the years. Taylor Decker, though, as you guys all know, couldn't really go a ton this year. You know, basically they just let him play in the games. Could it be that Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, we've seen their final time lining up, both of them for the Detroit Lions. Penei Sewell's not going anywhere. Taylor Decker, I think most of us understand the Lions are waiting for his decision this offseason, what he's going to do. Is he going to retire? Does he think he can gut out one more season? Does the body allow him? Maybe that's the better way to put it, to gut out one more season. Whatever you want to go with, I think the Detroit Lions, and per this report from Jeremy Risman at SB Nation, I think we all get last year, Lions showed a lot of faith, stability, gave every bit of rope you could to Frank Ragnow. And that, unfortunately, Ragnow took a little bit longer to make that choice, whether he's going to play or go retire. And because of it, it really impacted the upcoming season. You guys all know He made that choice after the draft, after free agency, and just kind of handcuffed the team what they could really do to address the situation going into the season. You can have your own thoughts on it. My thoughts is if the Lions would have been proactive on fixing that, you probably would have won one more game, maybe two. And obviously, you look at the Lions' schedule, you look at the record, that gets you into the playoffs if that would have held true. Taylor Decker, I whether you love him, hate him, or whatever it is, the Lions need to look for a replacement. There have been arguments that they've already done that with Miles Frazier, with Giovanni Manu. But if you don't believe, and you're Dan Campbell, you're Brad Holmes, if you don't believe one of those gentlemen are going to be able to step up and replace Taylor Decker right here, right now, then you probably need to make sure going into this offseason that it's handled. If Decker does return or you don't cut him, then great. You have even more weapons on the offensive line. But you can't be caught in the same situation you were last year. All right. 80 million plus decision feels inevitable for the Lions and Jahmyr Gibbs. Sideline report story by Brad Behrman. You guys get it. I get it. Everybody gets it. Gibbs, whether you like him at the line of scrimmage doesn't mean you don't have to like Dave Montgomery. Whether you like Dave Montgomery doesn't mean you have to dislike Gibbs. What you do know is Gibbs is going to get paid by this organization. They're not going to let him leave. They're not going to cut him. They're not going to trade him. They're going to keep him. They're going to retain him. The question is, how much do you really pay him? How much is he really worth? Is he a wide receiver? Is he a running back? Is he this, that, and the other thing? What we know is he's everything. And I think because of that, you're probably going to look at him getting somewhere around, as sideline reports suggest, a 4-year, $20 million deal per year. Could be a little bit more, could be a little less, but we all get it. It's somewhere in that range. And yeah, the salary cap does keep going up. Doesn't mean players like this don't impact that cap still. Penei Sewell, you guys get it. Lions they've made it a habit with Brand Holmes. They're going to take care of their own. And to be fair, they've drafted well enough to be able to justify take care of their own. Whether you're talking about Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Kirby Joseph, the list goes on and on. These guys are all getting paydays. And Brian Branch, Captain Jack Campbell, plus others, they're going to get lined up for paydays as well. What do you think, Duke Crew? If you had to put a price tag on Gibby right now, what would you give him? What do you think he's worth? 3 years, 5 years, 4 years? How much money per year do you think the Lions should invest in him? And again, I get he's multifaceted. He's a very rare offensive weapon that he can play, probably at a Pro Bowl level, multiple different spots with this team. If they came out tomorrow and said, hey, we're just going to make him a wide receiver, I don't think anybody would blink an eye. The fact that he can do both and do both so well, hey, credit to that kid. All right, next one listed. What Jared Goff said about Detroit Lions new offense coordinator, Drew Petzing, SI.com, story by John Macron. You guys get it? It was an off-the-kilt hire when the Lions made Drew Petzing their OC. And I get Mike Kafka is going to help out, all that kind of stuff. But what did the man under center have to say? What did Jared Goff have to say? Well, surprisingly, he had a whole lot of good things to say. And, Goff, how well does he actually know him? I don't know. But he just said, everyone I've spoken to about him being hired was glowing. In particular, quarterbacks who have played for him were glowing. I reached out to a number of guys that I knew that had played for Drew, and they all said the same thing. He's a quarterback-friendly OC. He's got a brilliant mind, does a lot of things to work the ball into your favor. We're going on a kind of run at best, and we are going what we should be doing, which some of this stuff we're done the last few years that will work. I believe in Petzing, and I think the team made a great hire here. So some of that, I think we all agree, that's just, quarterback speak. That's just, hey, I got a new guy coming in town. I don't want to say anything bad. But it does sound like if you take Jared Goff at his word, he really did reach out to a lot of different guys. I would even throw this at the Duke Crew. Look at what he did last year with backup talent at multiple different positions. The fact that while they didn't win a ton of games, they were competitive in a ton of games and against some vastly superior teams. That's where I think, man, coaching really jumps up in my opinion. It's easy to win when you have talent up here and the other team's got talent down there and you got any kind of real coaching behind it. It's a bigger challenge as an OC or a head coach or a DC when your talent's here, the other talent's up here, and you're still finding a way to keep your teams relevant in games. I think Jared Goff's pretty much spot on with this, and you can check out the full story interview if you want. But I think he's right when you look at a lot of the work that Petzing had to do, and we all know, Connor was out from this year, Murray was out from this year, and Harrison Jr. just couldn't catch a pass without it bouncing off his fingertips. The fact that the Cardinals nearly beat a lot of quality teams, and you check out the structure of a lot of their offense, how they were trying to take advantage of basically the talent they did have on the field. I think, there's more and more growing evidence from not just the Lions players, but across the league. Lions might have really hit the cover off the ball with this hire. And while it might have been a dark horse hire, something we all didn't see coming in, doesn't mean it wasn't the right one. All right, next one here. Two Lions everyone thought were gone, looked like they could now be staying in Detroit. A to Z Sports, Mike Payton. This came out yesterday. I know a number of you guys sent this over to me. Just unfortunately, I had coaching duties, and I had to get ready for that stuff yesterday. So the Lions, in a nutshell, I'm going to help you out here. Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike. If the Lions do want them to return, they can. And I'm not going to get into the whole, every bit of the penny of why the rule is what it is. But there is a cap rule that I'm going to paraphrase here. If you signed a contract and never even practiced for that team, then your contract rolls over to the next year. That's probably the easiest way to put it. If you want to get real specific about it, it is Article 20, Section 2 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement. That basically, if a player is physically unable to even perform at the slightest level, get on the practice field all season, then the contract is null and void and rolls over to next year. So the Lions basically, I don't know. I mean, I guess everybody's going to have different opinions on it. I liked Levi Onwuzurike a lot. I thought you go back to the 24 season when we were 15-2, you look at the last 6-7 weeks, I thought he was one of the best defensive linemen for the Detroit Lions. And if you wanted to argue interior pressure, guys, I would even argue at that time he was one of the top 10, 12-ish in the NFL. He's a big, bad boy who can push the pocket, and he's got some athleticism. I'm not in any way, shape, or form sad to see him back with the Detroit Lions if that's what they choose to do. Yeah, he had an ACL tear. Sounds like he played basically in the Washington Commanders playoff game with that tear. Got it fixed about a month afterwards when they finally figured out it was torn. So he'll have basically, I'm doing the math in my head, so don't hold me to it, about 17, 18 months to have healed from that. We're fully recovered by the time the Lions play an actual game again. With that being said, Josh Pascal, I don't know. I don't know where he's at with things. Is he going to be back with the team? I would say if I had to pick one of the two guys the Lions absolutely want back, it's Levi. Josh Pascal, great human being. I think everybody knows this story. Whether or not it was a back injury, whether or not it was something else that kept him out, I have no clue. What I do know is if I had to pick one of the two to return, it would be Levi. Josh, and it's no disrespect to him, I just haven't seen him perform nearly at a high enough level. Doesn't mean he can't do it next year, but I just haven't seen it as yet. But hey, kudos to the Detroit Lions for we all wondered why they signed these guys. And especially if they knew Levi's knee was at all a question mark. Well, maybe Brad Holmes simply knew this rule and said, hey, it doesn't matter. They don't pan out. We're going to get them next year. So, hey, kudos for them for thinking outside the box, if that's what happened. All right, last one here, the 5 glorious headlines now. NFC North Roundtable, Detroit Lions, reasons for optimism, SI.com, story by John Macarone. You kind of go around the league, you hear a little bit, or at least the NFC North. And let's talk about what they got in the roundtable. Detroit Lions, can this team get back to this, being a contender for the Super Bowl? I know this is a segue in the main topic of the day. This is the main topic of the day. But they do have their roundtable of people who cover the NFC North all come together and talk about the story. Think that, hey, the Detroit Lions have the best core group of wide receivers in the NFL. Gibbs, Monty should fit in beautifully into Drew Petzing's system for running the ball and, doing some stuff out of the backfield, etc. Lions have a ton of talent. That's in a nutshell. That's what they're saying with this story. And if they can just address a few things, they really do think with a fourth place schedule, perhaps a little bit more fire under their belly going into next year, Detroit Lions can get back to the top of the NFC North, and that might be good enough for them to be the number 1 or 2 seed in next year's playoffs, pushing towards the Super Bowl. If you want to hear some stuff for the other teams, I'll throw it at you real quick. Green Bay Packers, there's a lot of questions in Packersville right now. We get it. Jordan Love, he's either here or he's here as a quarterback. There really doesn't seem to be, he's been a starting quarterback now for 3-4 years, and it's the same story every year. He shows you a lot of brilliance at times. He also shows you, man, maybe he's not the quarterback of the future. It does sound like in Packerville this year, they're trying to really consider that aspect along with their head coach's tenure. He was nearly shown the door. Matt LaFleur was nearly shown the door this offseason. They're giving him one more season to try to right the ship, but let's also face it. If you are aware of his situation, the players are aware of his situation, I'm aware of his situation, he's probably aware of the situation. That puts a lot of stress and pressure on the coaching staff there. And you know what? It only needs a few little cracks in a system to really start taking on a lot of water. The Packers could be in trouble next year if things start off slow. Minnesota Vikings, guys all know this. They invested a whole lot of money last offseason into every aspect of the team other than quarterback. They moved on from Sam Darnold. Why? They feel like J.J. McCarthy's the answer. You can have your own opinion on J.J. McCarthy if he's going to pan out or not, but if he doesn't really, the first 6-7 games next year, show up and show out, this team's probably in a bad spot for the foreseeable future because some of these contracts are only going to go up, and away on the Minnesota Vikings. And if you don't have money, you're not going out and getting a high-level quarterback if JJ doesn't pan out. We'll have to wait and see, although there have been some rumors that, hey, maybe Matt Stafford could go there. Chicago Bears, what are your thoughts on them? They won a ton of close call games last year. Can you replicate that next year? You're also not going to have a fourth place schedule. There's a lot of things in flux with them, and you guys all know it. They're losing talent at the coaching staff. Throughout their coaching staff is probably a better way to put it. It's easy, I think, to catch people off guard, win a bunch of close games. Can you repeat it year in and year out? We're going to wait and see this next offseason. All right, let's go over and get over to the main topic of the day before we get Anthony from Roar Lions UK. 1, 2, 3, main topic of the day. All right, we got some reasons that we're going to throw at you guys why I think, how about 5 key reasons why the Detroit Lions should be able to contend for the Super Bowl next year. And we'll power through this real quick since I went on way too long with the 5 headlines now. But, hey, this first one, I think you all get it. Stability of the offensive line. You don't need a whole lot to make this back to one of the greater offensive lines in the league. My opinion is Penei Sewell is generational. You don't need to touch him. Whether you play him at left or right, doesn't matter. He's going to be just fine. Both of your starting guard spots, there should be much better if for no other reason that their experience level will have gone up. Ratledge, I thought the last 3 to 4 weeks was playing at a very high level. Should he go up even more? That's going to stabilize that, especially if you keep Penei next to him. The right side of the line's A-okay. Left side's going to be the question mark. Christian Mahogany or Miles Frazier, who's going to be the guard there? My guess is Mahogany. So that brings up the big question with the left tackle. Is it Taylor Decker? Is it Giovanni Manu? Is it Miles Frazier? Or is it somebody you're going to bring in from free agency or the draft? Whatever it is, as long as you get the center spot addressed from wherever means free agency or the draft, I think the Lions offensive line is going to be back on track next year. All right, how about this one? This is probably the no-brainer one to throw at you guys. The Lions got to find a way this season to stay healthy. You guys all fully understand. The first few years MCDC was the coach, Lions actually were pretty healthy overall. I mean, every team has injuries, but then the last 2 years have happened. You could argue 2 seasons ago when we were 15-2, if we didn't have 10,000 people out on defense, the Lions probably would have won against the Commanders, and they probably would have, I think, had a reasonable chance to win against Philadelphia, thus making the Super Bowl. That didn't happen. Injury's a big part of it, and then we saw that creep in again this year. Doesn't matter what you think you're doing as a coach, whether, man, this shouldn't be happening injury-wise or whatever you want to say. You got to find a way to keep players on the field. If you can't do that, history will just continue to repeat itself. So whether you're Detroit Lions or whoever else, somebody over in Detroit, as far as the coaching staff, medical staff, front office personnel, they got to come up with the answer to this problem. How do we keep players healthy? Goff leads the way. In my opinion, and I know there's some that just absolutely do not like Jared Goff, but let this sink in. If I didn't put the name of the quarterback next to these stats, you'd probably say this is one of the better quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the National Football League. 4,564 yards passing, 34 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Remember, 2 of those interceptions were, unfortunately, off deflections from Amon-Ra St. Brown that popped up in the air and got picked. So, hey, have your own thoughts on it. But if you have a quarterback behind a less than stellar offensive line, you guys already know the numbers. They were 20th in run blocking, 30th in pass blocking. That's not stability at your offensive line. There's no even stability in the run game. And yet you still put up numbers like that. My view is you're seeing more and more of a trend across the National Football League. Quarterbacks getting into the 30s, and they're playing better and better. I look at Matt Stafford right now and saying he's twice the quarterback he is now than he was when he left Detroit. Some of that, I think, is quarterbacks become basically coaches on the field. We talk about it, in the past with the show, Warren Moon, Tom Brady. I mean, whoever you wanted to throw out there. There came a point in their career it was just almost impossible to catch them off guard with a abnormal blitz or formation, whatever, just because at some point you've seen it all and you can identify it quickly. The faster you can identify it, the faster you can find the answer for it. Sort of like the coaches we talk about with Kelvin Shepard. My view on him, I think Shep's a good offense coordinator. I think there's still a lot of problems he can't solve quickly just because he doesn't have the experience. Using Goff as that analogy, I think Jared Goff's probably the next few years just going to continue to march through teams, put up big numbers, assuming there's no injuries to the receivers, offensive line, running back, or whatever. This is probably who he is, probably for the next 3 to 4 years. He's going to be a consistent MVP conversationalist. So with that being said, Goff's probably going to be a bigger strength than a weakness for us. Number one, next one I have here for you guys, defense needs to finish in top 10 for takeaways. I think you guys all get it. When you take the ball away, you keep points away from that team. You add opportunities to score points for your team. So I do think that Lions defense, if they can find a way to get back to the 2013 style NFL defense that the Lions had where they were taking the ball away fairly regularly, then you know what? You got to be on the field less as a defense, and you get to your offense more opportunity to score. All right, last one I've got here because I don't want to go on forever with it. Return of the running game duo. Whether that's going to be Dave Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs, we're going to have to wait and find out. I think Gibbs isn't going anywhere. We agree on that. Dave Montgomery, we hope he's not going anywhere. But the Lions were better, simply put, when they had both gentlemen coming in, getting snaps, giving change of pace, a fastball versus a curveball, however you want to word it, but they were better. Could it be that Petzing has them both out there at the same time? I would be a fan of that, but you're going to have to wait and see. We all agree Dave Montgomery is a solid contributor to any NFL offense. He can pound it. He can catch it. Does he have the wheels that Gibbs has? No, but does he also offer something Gibbs doesn't? The ability to take on would-be tacklers and keep powering forward. Probably agreeable that most people would say, yeah, he can do more of that than Gibbs. No disrespect to both guys, but I think they help each other out a ton. All right, guys, that's it for the main top of the day. Let's get over to the Duke Crew comment section. We have about 5 minutes until Anthony from Roar Lions UK is due on deck. Let's see what you guys have to say about all this, and maybe just a little bit more. One other thing, shout out to my daughter for her birthday. She's big number 14 today, 14 years old. Hopefully she's having a phenomenal start to her day. All right, Michael, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew, exclamation, one pride, woo, and back to you, Moonscar Blade. Good morning, Duke Crew, starting lineup, exclamation point, woo, good to see you from the town, so nice, they named it twice. And yes, if you see his thumbnail, you can see there was a time I threw a bowling ball 33.6 miles per hour. Yes, I enjoy trying to throw it fast. Jen, good morning, all, back at you. Let's see, Big Daz, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew, exclamation. Lions won't get to Super Bowl until they straighten their problems. With legit problems, players, not cheap fill-ins. Oh, yeah, with legit players, not fill-ins. Correct, yes. We'll see what they can do. Hopefully they draft well this year. If they can somehow get 4 guys in the draft that are big, impactful players and then 1 or 2 in free agency, I think we're going to be right as rain. Gary, morning, everyone. Back at you, Corner the Barbarian. In your opinion, we don't need much to really make a difference on the team. Offensive line, we will all know. After that, I'd put it all in the pass rush. The pass rush would make it a lot easier on the secondary, to your point. If you could do that, I wouldn't be sad. Jen, We have Levi and Pascal for one more year because the way the contract reads, minimal cost for both. Any thoughts? I like Levi Onwuzurike a lot. And who knows, maybe Pascal does come on fire this year. Super good guy, a lot of good parts to him. Can he generate some pass rush more consistently? I think both guys help you clearly on the run. Levi helps you on the pass rush. Can Pascal? We'll find out. Silver Server, good morning. Coach and all Lions faithful, back at you. Jimmy, greetings, salutations, coach and Duke crew. Exclamation point, one pride, back at you. Hopefully you're having a good time and a warmer time than we're having here in Michigan, down in Florida. Xavier, greetings, salutations, Coach Dan and Duke crew. I'm hoping everyone has a wonderful and blessed day. Exclamation point. I'm picking the Seahawks by 4. All right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're only less than a week away from the Super Bowl. Trey, what's going to be question mark? Coach, you should do a live stream for the Super Bowl. I won't be able to do that this year, Trey. I will be out with some friends watching the Super Bowl. Whether or not it's for the full game, I don't know. But, yeah, I'll not be around. Carrie, hit all the buttons. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. David, Levi and Josh playing for free this year. It sounds like, yeah, more or less. They got paid last year, so now they have to play this year. Jen, Xavier, it might be more than 4. Maybe has a shoulder injury. Drake May has a shoulder injury and hasn't been practicing. That's not going to be ideal for New England. Silver, I am all in for the re-signing of Levi and Pascal, 0 cost and all upside. Levi got great talent of knee and back, 100%. Pascal, God bless him. If the Creed disease-free, number 1 priority, could be a good season. Let's hope it is a good season for both guys. Xavier, I believe the game is on Peacock and NBC, exclamation point. I haven't even looked in that. Probably. Jimmy, can the Lions still ship off both Joshua Pascal and Levi Onwuzurike for at least a 6th rounder or a 7th rounder? It's possible. Somebody's willing to pay it. Hey, somebody's willing to pay it. You get maybe a 1st rounder. Jen, server, exactly. Exclamation point, or use for trade comp. Maybe. Jimmy, I'd rather have draft capital at this point. We'll see what shakes out. France, I think Levi could be a big plus for the team. Pascal never has shown me anything. Yeah, I would agree with that to a certain degree. Levi does have a lot of upside. Remember, if it wasn't for his back injury coming to the draft, he was the number 1 interior defensive lineman in that draft. And you could see it. I mean, dude's crazy athletic for his size. Even with a fused back, he still has a ton of athleticism. It's crazy. All right, Silver, Trey Tipton, I had forgotten there was a Super Bowl to be played. Exclamation point. That much I was focusing on Detroit. It happens, man. It happens. Xavier, that is true. Jen, exclamation point. How is the fabulous Duke crew? The Duke crew is rocking and rolling this morning. Jen, I would like draft cap too, Jimmy, but salary cap has us tied up. Yeah, might be accurate. Silver, and a good morning, Jen, Carrie, James, and Moonscar. All the above. Big Eddie, I feel like I need a do today. Just dragging this morning. A lot of us are on that same boat, man. Marshawn, Detroit Lions are going to the Super Bowl. Exclamation point. Hold my beer, Dan, so I can roar. Woo! Go Lions. Hey, we will be doing that all when the Lions get into the Super Bowl. Carrie, morning, Silver. Amy, good morning, Duke crew, and our amazing Coach Dan. Exclamation point. Have a great day. Go Lions. Woo! Back at you. Jess, greetings, salutations, Duke crew. I try to be as negative about the team as I can be. So when we win, it feels better. My view, we have the talent now, but need more on the D to really make that push upwards. I'll go with that. Arshaw, hit all the buttons. Thank you very much. Xavier, can we get a woo? Coach Dan, you want a woo? I'll give you a woo. How about a 1, 2, and a 3? And woo you go. All right, Silver, Jimmy, James, I believe Levi and Pascal hold 0 value as they stand right now. Levi injured all the time. Pascal, who basically hasn't seen the field in 4 years for many reasons. Yeah, I don't know if anybody would really trade for either one. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe somebody gives you a conditional 7th round pick or something like that. I just don't think many teams are going to be lining up to trade for him. Just we need to find another safety. I don't have a lot of confidence in Branch or Kirby. I can understand the logic about, hey, kind of hedging your bets a little bit, trying to have somebody else in there in case one or both of them struggle a little bit with injuries. Jen, safety is definitely a must this year. Just Lynn, I concur. Silver, 0 trade value. I knew we were going with that. No, sure. If you heard anything about Dave Montgomery, question mark. Seems like the trading rumors have subsided. I hope so. We need him. We'll find out. I mean, really, at this point, nobody's going to trade him until probably free agency or maybe just before the draft. Wait and see. Drake Monty is gone. Could be. Miles Bar, greetings, salutations, coach and crew. Back at you. Henry Moore, Sr. Good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke crew. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! And good to see you, Henry. Kerry, if they trade Demo without a bull rusher that can block and pass, they're idiots. We'll find out. Maybe they can get Iak with it. Susan, my offseason list of team needs: A, center; B, edge; C, safety; D, corner. I'd go with all that. All right, guys, it's about that time to bring over the rhythm and the rhyme, the sounds of a special guest of the day. You know him. You love him. He's the craziest man from the other land. Let's go over to Anthony from Roar Lions UK. And good morning, afternoon. I'm not sure what it is over there. Anthony, how you doing?
It's afternoon here at the moment. I'm freezing. My car decided today of all days it needed an engine oil change, and it is 1 degree outside, so my fingers are a little red right now, as you might be able to see. So I'm just warming up.
And here I thought you were heating up with your Lions takes for this upcoming season. So that being said, your opinion, the main topic for today is, what do the Lions basically have to do to get to the Super Bowl next year? In your humble view, what are a few key things that would really take this team to another level?
I think the key is they've got to be aggressive over the offseason. There's no more slow walk in this build of ours. There's way too many holes for them to fix in positions of need going into next year. So you've got to be aggressive when it comes to your free agency. You have plenty of cap you can free up if you wish to, if the opportunity is available and if the right player is available, etc., etc. You've got to be willing to push a little bit of money into the future. For now, the more holes you can fix, the less issues you're going to have come the draft. And then, you've got to knock the draft out the park, really. But you've got to fix those trenches. And I think free agency is where you've got to go hard at to begin with. And then you've got to go hard at the top of the draft. And if you do that, if you fix your trench warfare, then, we're going to be in much better stead next year, obviously. Offensive line needs to be fixed. Defensive line needs to be fixed. That's where you're at. But I think they've just got to be a little bit more aggressive in the way they go about things. We can't slow build this through drafts anymore, because we've seen what the Rams, the Seahawks, and that are capable of. We are not in these teams' level right now, whether people want to admit it or not. We are not there with these guys, and we will continue to get left behind if we don't start acting like we're a Super Bowl team now. So hopefully, we're in year 6. The tone's going to change now from slow build to, right, let's get this thing underway and let's get back to where we want to be, because we are a good team. We want to be a great team.
When you look at the Detroit Lions, we all got news yesterday. Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, their contracts are going to roll over to this year. I think most of us agree you need a little bit more on that defensive line. Do you think either one or both these guys really add anything to the team next year?
Oh, Pascal and Levi?
Yeah.
I think we should cut them both. Part of my ruthless aggression for this offseason is to cut bait with injured players. I'm tired of it, and injuries in the NFL are unforeseeable. Obviously, you can't predict how many you're going to get, when you're going to get them, etc. You can improve your chances of being a less injured team by having less injury-prone players on it, and giving them positions of importance on the roster. Last year, Davenport and Pascal were supposed to be our edges 2 and 3, and we both know Pascal's inconsistent play. He's always got a minor knock or something like that. Davenport is just never healthy. Neither of them two work, and we kind of get lucky because AQM comes through and saves the day, but he's probably priced himself out of Detroit now. Are we going to get that again? Is it going to be Hassanin? You've got to start cutting bait with these players who are injured all the time. I include Davenport in that. He can get out of here. Pascal and Levi. I don't care how cheap it is. I don't care, and we've been gaslighted by this for years, back to the days of Julian Aquara, Emmanuel Mosley, guys like this. We're just thought they're cheap, they're depth, but we're not. They're treated as important players on the roster, and we've got to stop doing it. We need to just start fresh, get some new guys in, and go again. I love Levi. I do. We've had one good season in 5, one healthy season in 5. Pascal, it's just done now. He's not played in a year. He's not that good when he has been playing. I would rather us start from scratch and get some of these guys off the roster. Again, it might not magically solve the injury crisis as we've been having, but it will improve our odds to have guys who are more durable. And I include guys like Rakestraw in that as well. He's not played football in 3 years now. He's got to be considered to be bottom of the depth chart right now, because the odds of getting him back are not high. So
Right.
I want them to be aggressive when it comes to the injuries. So these two especially, just because you got the extra year doesn't mean you should use them.
When you look at the Lions free agents, we got a lot of them. If you had to anticipate the Lions re-signing some of them, any of them, one of them, who would you say are some of the ones they really need to prioritize bringing back for the next season?
I've got my list here of guys I'd bring back. I would bring Lopez back because we want a good run stopper in there, and he's shown he's got a bit of pass rush ability as well. I think he's had a very good season. I think he deserves to come back, give us a bit more tackle rotation. Alex, I would bring back because, quite frankly, we don't have someone to replace Alex yet. And you're going to have to go in the draft and draft a very good coverage linebacker if you do want to replace him. And I don't really want to do that. We've got Alex here right now. I hope they work out a deal with him and bring him back. He was the start of this build. He's the heart of this build. You want to keep him in the building. I'd bring Rodrigo back as well because I don't think he's got a fair shake of the stick since his injury. Rock Ya-Sin I'd bring back. I think he's our best corner this year. It's just price with him. It's like AQM. I bring AQM back, but we all know 11 sacks last year. Someone's going to pay him a ton of money, which we're not going to be able to afford. If Rock will take a decent deal here, I'd bring him back. Same with Maddox. I would bring him back for that safety room as well. They'd be the ones I'd be looking to bring back. Everyone else can see you bye.
Okay. So let's assume we go with some of those re-signings. Let's talk about the draft, and it's way too early to know. We haven't even had the scouting combine. I have been throwing out the idea that if it were me, which it's not, I'd really try to I know you've kind of already talked about being aggressive with it, trying to replicate what the Rams and other teams have done because you can rebuild quickly. I would say that I would try to make moves to trade up and get 3, maybe if we're really lucky, 4 guys that come in from the draft and start day one right away. If that's the case, are there any names that come to mind for you that you would target if you're Brad Holmes?
See, the draft strategy depends entirely on what you do in free agency right now. If it was me, I would be targeting one of the better centers in free agency. If Linderbaum gets there, great. If Mays gets there, great. I would be quite aggressive in pursuing those so I didn't need to get one in the draft. Because if I'm taking one in the draft, I'm taking one round 2. If I get the opportunity, I'm taking one of the better ones high. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather save that spot. So I would rather get my center in free agency and I'd rather draft my tackle. That's how I'd rather do it. And I would go up in the draft and get a tackle potentially as well. Outside of that, I'd like round 2 to be defensive tackle. We need a pass rushing defensive tackle. They are a premium. You've got to spend high on them, but there is not enough pass rush juice from the interior. Tyleek is not drafted to be that guy. Lopez ain't really going to be that guy. It's not what they're designed for. They're designed to stuff the run. We need an actual disruptive pass rusher in the middle, and they are a bit of a premium. So I would go after that, and then I would look about fixing the secondary corners, the safeties. I'd be trying to find starters for both. Because I know we've got Brian and Kirby, but their injuries are at the point where I would still rather draft someone with a very high ceiling who can potentially start early, just in case one of them's not ready to go. And plus for future years as well, we don't know what's going to happen with them injury-wise. So yeah, it'd be trenches all at the start for me, early doors. But I'd want to go up for a tackle because there's nothing after that top 10 that's appealing whatsoever, that isn't developmental, that isn't going to start for you right away, really.
When you look at the NFC North, I think we all agree it's one of the more competitive divisions in the NFL. Where do you think the Lions rate right here, right now? And if you can, maybe break down all the teams going into next year.
In terms of our talent now?
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, I think it is easy enough to say we have the most talented core of all, and I truly believe that. With Amon-Ra, with Penne, with Goff, with Gibbs, all our younger players under 30. We have, I think, by far got the best core in the conference. The trouble is our depth and our fleshing out the roster has been the trouble. So overall, the core, we've got the best one. In terms of the best overall team right now, in terms of the amount of talent there. Yeah. I mean, it's tough because everyone's about to change a lot of their roster. But So I would just go by cause. I would say ours is the best. I'd say the Bears afterwards, because the Bears do have a decent young core there. They've been drafting well recently. Then you probably go with the Packers, then the Vikings, I think, in terms of your core and how talented it is. But obviously, you know, people are about to go in free agency. We don't know what the full rosters are right now, so I can't do a full four for what it's going to be next year. Hopefully it will be us. But, you know, there are a lot of positions we've got to flesh out this year, and there are a lot of positions we need to fill. But it's where I'm not happy with the talent we've got right now. We need to add a lot more going into this offseason if we're going to compete next year.
With the idea of competing next year, let me ask this next question to you there, Ant-Man. A lot of people have speculated that the Lions, if they want to free up, 70 million, 80 million, 130 million, they really could fairly easily. Do you think the Lions do that this offseason? And if you do, where do you take whatever money you free up and invest it?
They should. They absolutely should. That is the position you've put yourself in. 5 years of no restructuring and stuff like that. Yeah, you've got some void years, etc., but a lot of those are on your younger players. I believe you've now put yourself in a situation. This is a fallback. You know, you want to do it through the draft. You want to do the slow build. This year is the first year we've really hit a wall with that. But your fallback is you now have a lot of money to play with. The 3 contracts I would mess with are Goff's, Penny's, and Amon-Ra's. Specifically, Goff's is huge, and it's not going to be. That's going to get restructured in one way or another. But Penny's and Amon-Ra's, they're going to be here. Penny's going to be here another decade. Amon-Ra's going to be here at least the best part of another decade. If you're going to restructure contracts and move them into the future, you do it with guys who are going to be here long-term down the line. You don't want to be like the Saints who are paying $30 million to Cam Hayward next year to not be on the roster. You know, that's just bad cap management. But those are the 3 contracts I'd go after. You cut Graham Glasgow, you're going to free up about $75 million for yourself, depending on how much you want to use. But the great part is, you don't have to restructure those deals
right
until you've got the deals in place with guys in free agency. So you could free up 75 million. It doesn't mean you have to spend 75 million. You know, if the deals are, you don't free it up and then be like, oh, crap, we've got nothing to spend it on now. So what the hell are we going to do with it? But the point is, they can attack anyone they want in free agency realistically. And they can restructure as they go with it if they so choose to. But I would be sending all that money to free agency to really get some big moves in to help us. Like I say, center, I've got to pay Linda Bowmore-Mays a decent chunk of money. I will, because we can. And it solves a big need for the draft going forward as well. And I would use it to flesh out our roster, because I say you need more corners, you need more safeties. We need more linebackers. We've only got 2 under contract next year so far. We need receiver depth. We've only got 4 under contract next year. Like, we're threadbare in some places. People don't realize this. So, you know, and of course, we've got all our own free agents to re-sign and that. So I'm putting a lot of money from this aside and moving it into this year, because you're at year 6. You can't keep slow building this thing. You ain't going to get 10 years of slow building to try and get to a Super Bowl. If you don't do well this year, I think the average fan's going to start questioning this as well, not just the doom mongers and the naysayers. Your average fan's going to start questioning it for the first time, which they can't afford. So you've got to be aggressive this year. But yeah, I will free up as much as I need for free agency to make it successful. I will not sit back and watch other teams just spend money and get stronger whilst we try and do it our way and hit the bargain bin.
You know, when you look at the Detroit Lions, I think we all agree there's a lot of talent there. Where do you think are some of the most talented areas on the team? You know, areas that you can say, hey, going this offseason, we don't have to worry about adding anything to the depth chart for these particular areas.
I mean, running back, because I'm doing everything in my physical power to keep Monty here. You've got the best 1-2 punch in the league. Hopefully, Varkey will be something next year, but I would get a running back 3, but I think they're fine. The receivers are great. You've got 2,000-yard receivers. You've got Tesla. You know, I think you're going to be absolutely fine there. But outside of that, I mean, it's struggling. You've got to redo your quarterback room. Your tight end room is trash. I would start. Sam Laporte is the only guy I'm bringing back in that tight end room next year. The rest of them are not good enough, and I would blow that room up and redo it all again. I think your D tackles, you need depth there. You need a pass rusher in there. Your defensive ends, you need to start from scratch because hopefully Davenport doesn't suit up again, and you don't know the extent of Hassanin's injury and what he's recovered from. So you've got to redo up your D end room. Your linebacker room, as I say, you've got 2 under contract next year. You've got to redo that. You've got to redo your corner room. You've got to redo your safety room. I think there's less stability in this team than people realize at depth here. Like, wide receiver and running backs are the only place I'm really comfortable at this moment in time. Everywhere else is fair game as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Anthony, I want to thank you as always for making a little time out of your day to come on over and hang out with the Duke Crew. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out and tell everybody where to find you, support you, and all you do with your great content.
Yeah, as Dan says, you can find me at Roar of the Lions UK. We're a Detroit Lions fan podcast from across the pond. So if you want to come get your Lions news and views from a British perspective, then come check us out. I know some of you do already. I very much appreciate that. We usually live on Mondays. I talk college ball on Wednesdays or throughout the week. So if you like your college football, your draft stuff, you come and chat with me with that. Roar of the Lions UK is where you can find me. As always, Dan, appreciate you. Appreciate the Duke Crew. I'm rocking my Mountain Dew today. Obviously, the low sugar stuff. I need the real stuff from you still. You've got to send me some over the summer, but I'll make do with what I've got for now.
You know, man, send me your address on Twitter. I'll ship you over a proper Mountain Dew or 2 for you.
I shall look forward to it. But I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day. We are about to have a ton of snow dumped on us here, so I'm going to go get ready. Go make some snowmen later when it's deep enough.
Stay warm, man. Don't let your hands freeze.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
We'll see you now. All right, that was Anthony from Roar Lions UK. As always, making a little time out of his busy day to come hang out with the Duke Crew. So I want to say thanks for that. All right, let's get back to the Duke Crew comment section and see what you guys have to say. David, it's almost automatic intuition for the more live reps you acquire. There you go, said Stafford. Jimbo Lion King, no worries. Big D, I like Shep, though, very much. Me too, man. Just, like anybody, whether you're a player or a coach, most need more experience to get even better and better. I think he's getting there. All right, happy birthday to your daughter, Dan. Thank you very much. She's getting old, man. She's 14. Detroit D, Duke Crew, exclamation point. Good to see you, man. It feels like it's been a hot second since we've seen you. Jameer, happy cake day to your daughter, Coach. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Martinez, good morning, Coach and chat. Back at you. Nice new hat in the thumbnail. Jimmy, Phil, Kelvin Shepard shouldn't be replaced in his first season as DC. Yeah, I think they're going to give him time to grow. Whether or not I can only speak for myself. Most coaches, especially when you're younger, or to be fair, even when you're older, when you run into problems you haven't seen before, situations, you typically ask people, how do you address this, do that. I hope for Shep, he's doing a lot of that this offseason just so he acquires more and more knowledge and experience. Thomas, Matt Untrade 31 is not old in the NFL. Is it downside? Question mark. Yes, exclamation point. But we'll get a star defensive end to match up with Hutch. Look at Green Bay's D. Injuries happen. When he played, that D was scary. I would agree with that. Kerry, Trey, Michigan. Okay. Martinez, has the Pro Bowl become irrelevant? I think it's been that way, unfortunately, for about 20 or 30 years. Dale, happy birthday to your daughter, Coach. Exclamation point. Thank you all who are saying that. Phil, if the Lions are serious about a championship, then they can't be sentimental about coaches. No, just got to go with whatever's best. It's the hard part about coaching, whether you're talking about dealing with players, staff, or whatever. You got to make the hard choices and not the emotional choices. All right, Brian, NFC Championship trophy or bust? I would take that. Thomas, it will always be this way. Exclamation point. O puts backside to the seats. Backsides in the seats. How about that? D wins championships. Go fix the D. I'll do that. 31 in middle age. 31 is middle age in NFL. Okay. Queen Mary thinks Shep will be better this year. He already been through the learning process. Now the incoming season, I got faith in him. Let's keep the faith indeed. Thomas, Mart, that's not old. Okay. Phil, I'll be watching something other than the halftime show. All right. Queen Mary, happy birthday to your daughter, Coach. Thank you very much. Puppy Bowl. Ooh, do they still do that? I used to enjoy watching that. Thanks, Uncle Buzz. Phil, 31 different Mountain Dew flavors. Which is best? You know me. It's always from the Circle K. Half diet, half regular from the fountain. Can't get better than that. Martinez, will Stafford win the MVP this Thursday at NFL Honors? I won't be surprised. He had a heck of a season. I mean, not that other people didn't, but he did have a very, very good season. Jack, happy birthday to your daughter, Coach. Thank you very much. Jimmy, I'm with you on it, Mary. I want to give Shepard a chance. There, I concur. Thomas, Shep better be better. Exclamation. Last year ain't gonna hack it. I see the Lions this way. We have a 3-year window, or we will be just a playoff team, not a championship team. Think outside the box. Let's see if we can do all that. The Lions need to do more than duds taking up roster spots. I'll concur. Cynthia, good morning. Anthony, exclamation point. The Ant-Man was in the building. I remember when the Lions had the lingerie, I remember they had the lingerie bowl. It was controversial, so they snatched it. Okay, yeah, I guess I don't remember that. Queen Mary, good morning. Anthony, Benjamin Brewer, another person I haven't seen in a hot second. Campbell's foolishness cost them a chance 3 years ago. What makes you think he's any smarter now? I don't know. Two people can look at the same situation and have different views. What I can say is in that NFC Championship game, the wife does not know football. And I can say this, when we got to that 4th and 2 and we're up 14, halftime we're up 17, you had exhausted half of the third quarter. Kicked that field goal. And not that it was a gimme. It was, I want to say 46 yards, 48 yards. But, I mean, it was reasonable that we could make it. You do that, you've exhausted half the remaining game, and you'd still have the same lead you had at halftime. I would have kicked it, but at the same time, MCDC did get us to that point by going for it on a lot of fourth downs. The year we went 15-2, went for a ton of fourth downs. The thing is, we got them. So, I don't know. I mean, if Reynolds doesn't drop that pass, we're probably all having a very different conversation after that game. But unfortunately, he dropped the pass. Kerry, Trey, Garrett, Bosa, like all the other big names, are going to cost what? Question mark. And who is our Mr. Money Pockets? Ain't going to happen. We'll find out. Brian, did Anthony just say his car wasn't warming up because they needs an oil change? Could be accurate. Something like that. I didn't catch it all, but that's something like that. Phil, respect to the man who changes his own oil. I concur. Josh, I think it's funny how we get just talking about contracts being negotiated for Goff to make cap space. However, now the discussion is paying the running back. What about the rest of the team? Yeah, you got to pay them all, right? Nobody works for free. Miles Park, grip morning, Anthony from Roar Lines UK. I concur. Bootscar Blade, park that thing in a garage and add some heat. Exclamation point. But your oil can probably go longer than you think. We'll find out. Maybe it doesn't have a garage. I don't know. Brian, I'm so ready for some new faces on the team. We will have a bunch of new faces after free agency in the draft, probably. Bootscar Blade, Levi is DDI 2.0. Could be. Challenge auto. Okay. Josh, well, then who was coaching when Murray got injured? Who made the play calls? Injuries happen all the time. But I would say Petzing did a pretty good job with what he was given or had to work with, however you want to word it. All right, just guess it right. Send Brad Holmes a copy. We'll do that. Randall, can we get off the whining and crying about injured players? Lions fans act like we're the only team that has injuries. It's correct. I mean, every team has injuries. How do you overcome them? That's part of the riddle and challenge of coaching. Gary, we rode 30 years without heat or air conditioning in my truck in Michigan, so I feel bad for you, young pup. Okay. And his injury excuse is tired, but Dan Campbell needs to stop live tackle practices, or team needs to get better doctors, trainers. Yeah, I think every team has live tackle practices. It's just you're restricted to how many. I don't know offhand if MCDC does more than normal. So, sorry, I can't speak to that part. Randall, we should be looking at who we can trade for picks to get younger and cheaper. Yeah, we'll find out. Monty is top of the list. All right. Gary, how about players need to be more prepared? Thomas, our biggest problem signing Alex is Barnes' contract. That's one thing I wanted to ask Anthony about. I should have asked him. What are his thoughts on Derek Barnes? All right, David. Got to get that to pop. I see a trade in the works for who? Question mark. And who will be traded? We have to wait and see what does Daniel Damas predict. You have to wait for a different episode for that, but maybe we can get Daniel Damas stop in. Lions are technically a middle-class team, good enough to remain relevant, but not good enough to get a Super Bowl berth. We'll find out. But, Brian, how in the world can anyone say we have the best NFC North roster? We were last in the division, instantly thinking we have the best roster before free agency and the draft. Everybody's got different opinions. One or two games go differently. Could we have been the top of the NFC? I think that's where he's going with it. Plus, we're the only team to sweep the winners of the NFC North. Kerry, for the contracts they're getting, I'd be in training year-round. Most of them are in training year-round, for sure. Brian Brandy, some people grapple with the truth. Agreed, Tamara. All right, says Brian. Hislop, what do you got? I'd say it's a given that the Lions will win the Super Bowl once I got a bunch of fans to report the officials to the FBI. We'll see if we can do that. David, Dan O'Donnell, Super Bowl prediction. You have to wait for later in the week. Benjamin, no offensive line, no free offensive consistency. End of story. Fair enough. Real talk, please. We always talk for real. How about that? Brian, stop it with the Super Bowl predictions. It's keeping us cursed. Pitcher Brewer, correct. Brian, predict the Super Bowl score when we make one. All right, I will do that. Gary, look at St. Brown and Hutch when you want to look at dedication to craft. Yeah, I would think we have a lot of players that are pretty dedicated, but I don't know. As Lions, better focus on making the dang playoffs first, then see what happens. I'll go there. Cynthia, everyone needs to be aggressive. Good points. Anthony, agreed. I do like aggression. That's just my nature as a coach. Queen Mary, great take, Anthony. Have a good one. I concur. Brian, still waiting for Hutch's craft. Not a Hutch fan. He's good, not great, not worth two pick. All right. And well, who else would you have taken though, Brian? I guess throw that one out there. If you're saying don't take Hutch at pick 2, who would have been the person you would have taken? Doubt that on Sewell. I guess I don't know what we're talking about with Sewell there. Miles Martin, thank you. And Anthony Fitzpatrick, thanks all. Have a great day. Hey, thanks for all you do, my friend. Eddie, the Lions need to hire an independent conditioning team from fitness company. I think they do have some fitness pros over there. Agreed, Brian. Hutch overrated? I'll go with Hutch is overrated. I don't know. King, me, what do you got? Free agents, center, defense, tackle, linebackers, safety, and tight end. Ooh, not a bad list. Anymore, have a glorious day, my friends, and I will chat with you tomorrow. Have a great one, Henry Moore Sr. Pierce, how much dead money would there be if we cut Barnes? Was not impressed. I don't know his contract terms offhand, so I'd be guessing on that, Pierce. Average fans, we'll find out. Queen Mary, have a blessed day. Henry, Pierce Sargent, who is an average fan? That I don't know. I guess we have to define what an average is because then you know what is above or below an average. Brian, y'all want a Super Bowl? The Super Bowl. I want an FC Championship trophy for Martha Ford. They worry about a Super Bowl. Okay. Bill, Shep wasn't a great hire. I hope they add someone to help him. Maybe they will. Vernon, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. Coach is a sleeper. You can get in the 5th round. Chandler Rivers, a 5'10 cornerback from Duke. 200 tackles, 16 TFL, 7 interceptions, 29 busts, plus he's an All-American. We'll check him out. So let's see. Cynthia Pierce, good question. Exclamation point. Yeah, I don't know. How do you define the average? Martinez, good thing the Lions organization didn't go up on ticket prices again if they know what's good for them. I will find out. Moonscar Blade, Jen Savage for Lions Fitness. Exclamation point. Ooh, shameless plug there. She'll make them stronger and recover quicker. Could be accurate there. Ridiculous, most expensive tickets, but not in the playoffs. Crazy. Yes. The only thing I'd say is it's supply and demand. It's, typical economy. People willing to pay it, they're going to charge it. People stop paying it, the prices will go down. So if everybody stops going to Ford Field games, the price will go one way. Gary, I'm waiting to see who they put with Shep if they will. We'll find out. It's midday in UK. That might be accurate. Pierce, Gary, I doubt they will. Brian, not a Shep fan, but hopefully improves in his second year. Yeah, some good stuff there. Some stuff where it definitely could improve. Shovel ready. Hey, got to get ready for the snow. Kevin Shepard has one more season to get it together. We'll see what happens. Woodskar Blade, have a great day, Duke Crew. Exclamation point. As Bo would say, all done and dusted. Yeah, where is Bo today? Maybe have we not seen him? Oh, look at it. Happy trails, Duke Crew, one pride worldwide. We need a W Downer free zone. I concur. Queen Mary, have a blessed and safe day. See you all in the morning. See you then. David, have a blessed day, everyone. Let's go, Lions. Woo! Dennis, Hookadoo. All right. And Hookadoo with an exclamation point. Let's see. Best wishes, Detroit Lions. Have a terrific day, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. And same to everybody. All right, guys. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over you as soon as possible. Otherwise, if you be so kind, hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit all the buttons. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for someone you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you guys all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Excuse me, sir. Would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Juice for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? Oh, Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?